Hello, families interested in Aurora Science and Tech. Welcome to our virtual open house. I'm so glad that you've decided to watch this webinar and learn more about Aurora Science and Tech. My name is Rebecca Block. I'm the proud principal here at Aurora Science and Tech, and I'm so excited to talk to you today about DSST Public Schools, about Aurora Science and Tech, and I hope you leave this presentation with a better sense of our school and a better understanding if this school would be a great place for your student. At the end of the presentation, I will make sure you have my email address, our front office manager's email address, our social media, and our website so that you can connect with us for any follow-up questions you might have. But let's dive right in. Our virtual open house goals for today are to share information with families about Aurora Science and Tech, which we refer to as AST, and DSST Public Schools. I'm hoping to share a unique approach at AST with you all in regards to academics and activities and our school culture. I want to make sure families understand how the application process works, and I want to ensure that you know who you can contact for more information or assistance with anything related to AST post this call. So I'm going to talk for about 20, maybe 25 minutes, and then we'll make sure at the end, like I mentioned earlier, that you know how to get in contact with either me or someone from my team so that we can make sure all your questions are answered, especially in this time of remote learning when I can't have you in our beautiful new school building. Want to make sure that we still answer any and all questions you have. So again, my name is Rebecca Block. I threw some pictures on a slide to tell you a little bit more about me. I moved to Denver, Colorado in 2014 to help found or start our DSST Cole High School. And it has been a highlight of my life. In 2018, we graduated our first class of seniors. And here is, in the top left picture, is me with some of those seniors. You can see kind of some schools that they're going to on their shirts. Underneath that is a picture of me in an owl costume. Our mascot here at Aurora Science and Tech, we are the owls, and so when we made the move to remote learning last spring, I decided to motivate our kids by dressing up in an owl costume and making up a funny rap. In the top other part of your screen, you can see me with my family. I have 2 children. They are 5 and 3 and the loves of my life, and I feel like having my own kids allows me to also understand that parent perspective, right, and what you need for your students, which is a super safe, loving, warm place for them to learn and grow into the people that they will become. And then we have a robust advisory program at Aurora Science and Tech, and it's similar to an advisory program that I participated in as a teacher when I taught in Chicago Public Schools, and this is a picture of me graduating some of my advisees in 2014. So just a couple of pictures to let you know a little bit more about me, and now let's jump into why DSST. So what has always drawn me to DSST is our mission, which is to transform urban public education by eliminating educational inequity and preparing all students for success in college and the 21st century. The jobs that are going to exist when our middle schoolers are ready to enter the workforce, we don't even know what all those jobs are. And so we need to be, creating students who are able to think critically and to be able to adapt quickly and are up to date on technology so that they can be successful, not only when they leave us in middle school or high school, but when they enter the world. Another thing that has always compelled me to DSST Public Schools is that since its inception in 2008, every single DSST senior has been accepted into a 4-year college or university. And that is a major accomplishment and something we are very proud of. And my sacred commitment to all of our families is that if you entrust us with your students in middle school and they stick with us and work hard and live our values, by the time that they graduate from high school, they will also be accepted into a four-year college or university. And our alumni have attended some of the best colleges in the country, like the Ivies, Stanford, Yale, Princeton, have also attended really great schools right here in Colorado, the University of Colorado, Colorado College, and the University of Denver. So definitely 100% means 100%, and we're very excited to think about even our little sixth graders as future college graduates. At DSST, we have 4 core model elements. The first is academic preparation. We want to make sure that students are prepared academically and on grade level for what they need to accomplish. We also kind of have a long view of this, which is when students get to college, we don't want them to have to need to take remediation classes in math or English. Those obviously cost money to take and don't usually count toward a degree. And so we want to make sure when our students get to college, they are academically prepared to be there. We also have a deep belief in values development. We think just academically educating students is actually not our only priority. We want to create good humans and great citizens of the world. And so I'm going to talk to you about some of our values that we prioritize at AST and at DSST in a few minutes. We believe deeply in integrated schools, and integrated schools means socioeconomically integrated, racially integrated, ethnically integrated. And at AST, we are super fortunate that our school is very integrated in all of the ways I just mentioned, and we're looking forward to continuing that. And then as I mentioned earlier, college success is a huge focus. We start talking with students about college from the time they're in 6th grade all the way up through their senior year. So who you will become at AST is just as important as what you can accomplish. And so, again, we believe deeply in character development coupled with rigorous academics. We believe deeply that strong relationships between teachers and leaders and students is really important. We want students to feel deeply known and affirmed for who they are. We will live our core values, and we want to build confidence in students to explore, to take risks, to ask questions, and to know that it's okay to make mistakes, and that middle school is a great time to learn that you can make a mistake and bounce back from that. So what makes DSST unique? I think several things, and the first kind of piece of misinformation I get a lot is DSST, which stands for Denver School of Science and Technology. What I often hear is so you guys only do science and technology there, and that's wrong. We do everything here. So we offer a liberal arts education with a STEM focus. STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and math. So we offer STEM pathways in grades 6 through 12. We offer a one-to-one laptop program. We work with our students for whom English is not their first language and make sure that they have the appropriate classes and coursework to take. We really prioritize hands-on learning. We want to make sure kids are not just passively receiving information, but they are doing as much as possible in the classroom. We have a robust athletic and club program at AST, and then we care a lot about students' development and building a strong community. So I want to show you a quick video that tells a little bit about why at DSST we just love middle schoolers so much.
We love middle school and middle schoolers. That's not something you hear very often, if ever. For many, middle school is forgotten or described as an awkward time. DSST is focused on making middle school a time of belonging, rather than being wedged between the sweet years of grade school and the passage into early adulthood. Middle school is where we help kids engage their sense of curiosity and develop character. We've spent years refining our approach to create environments where kids feel safe and supported enough to thrive and learn. DSST schools have strong cultures and close communities because we don't accept casual cruelty and bullying as part of the bargain. This has helped to give us a reputation for running the best schools in Denver. Because we love middle school, that makes our high schools better too. Our graduates go on to prestigious colleges and universities all over the world. We invite you to learn more about DSST. We love what we do, and we would be honored to teach your children.
I love that video for several reasons. One is I get to see some of my former students in it, but two is just that like we really do love our middle schoolers and middle school at DSST and at AST, and are excited to share that with you. So let's transition now to talking about AST more specifically. We kind of have 4 things we believe deeply in, and there's actually more than 4. So 4 bullet points that we believe deeply in. One is around community, our core values and relationships. We think that really undergirds everything we do at AST, and that without those things, our school just wouldn't be our school. We have very high expectations for students and families, and we couple that with really high support. So we want to work with you to make sure that your student is able to achieve what we know that they can. We want to make sure that everybody is college ready, and what that means at the middle school level is to make sure students are entering high school academically prepared for high school so that they can continue that growth as they move to and through college. And then we believe in 100% of our kids, all of them, deserves to be deeply known and have a minimum of one really trusted adult in our building. So here are 2 of our rising 8th graders next year, Tyrone and David, and I couldn't think of 2 young men who exemplify our core values more, but so many of our students do. And so DSST has 6 core values. You can see them here: respect, responsibility, courage, curiosity, integrity, and doing your best. And we really believe that these values transcend kind of culture. We believe they transcend your race or your socioeconomic status, and we believe that these are 6 values that all families and all students and all staff can really live. And that's the important thing about our core values at DSST, is that they are not just something that are up on the wall that then we turn away and forget about as the year gets going. These are really a true part of our community. So we recognize students for living our core values through awards. We shout them out and they get core value points. When they ask a really great question in class, they might get a courage point or a curiosity point. When they help out a friend, right, either in the hallway or virtually, they can earn responsibility points. And we really like to celebrate that both in our students, but also in our staff. So my staff team talks about these core values. Often I try to live my life by these core values. And so they're not just something we're imposing upon kids, but that we truly feel our community needs in order to be what we want it to be. We believe, as I mentioned earlier, that 100% of our kids deserve an excellent education and deserve to be deeply known. Relationships serve as that foundation through primarily a program called Advisory, which is where one staff member has a group of about 15 to 18 students and sees those students every single day of the year in the morning as a time to welcome them into the day, make sure they're prepared for the day, and then build community and team through things like circles and discussions and fun team building. Right now it's right before Halloween, and so our students and their advisors are going to join together to do a fun kind of Halloween/fall themed background on their desktop so that they can all kind of show that united front. And it really allows our students to feel like they have one true advocate in the school who is always going to look out for them, have their back, and push them. The student's advisor is also the person that parents will primarily interact with. This is the person who will send home their progress report. It's the person who will call you and you'll have your student-teacher conference with. And it's the person who's just going to have a little tighter pulse on you and your family and what your student needs. We believe in a smaller school model at AST. We want to make sure that your whole student is celebrated and that students are known as individuals. And so our smaller school model is intentional and on purpose. We probably could have a massive middle school, but we just believe that the middle school years are so important in students' growth and development that we wanted to make sure we kept it pretty small. Transitioning on to the next bullet point around mental health with COVID and all of the craziness in the world and a move to remote learning for over 8 months for many students, mental health support is top of mind for us. To that effect, we have a full-time social worker on staff who meets with kids and kind of monitors well-being and also leads our team and students through just general groups, like for students struggling with anxiety or for students who are worried about making new friends. And so we really lean heavily on that person, and she's wonderful. And then we have things like after-school tutoring options where teachers can sign students up or students can sign themselves up for tutoring if they're falling behind or if they want to get pushed a little bit more. So our team at AST consists of me, Rebecca Block. I'm the school director, which is our fancy way at DSST of saying principal. We have a school director in training, someone who's working under me as she works to become a principal. We have an assistant principal, a dean of students, and a director of curriculum and instruction. That's a teacher coach. And then we have, you can see different teachers that we have on the other side of the screen. And I think that's it. We'll talk about those. So who are we at AST? We are a partnership between Aurora Public Schools and DSST Public Schools. And the city of Aurora approached DSST and said, hey, we'd be really interested in partnering with you. You have a great track record in Denver Public Schools, so we'd love it if you expanded to Aurora. And at the same time, some land became available on the Anschutz campus, and it just kind of was a perfect convergence of, all the people being in the right time and the right place. And so now we have this beautiful new campus on the Anschutz campus, and it will eventually serve 6th through 12th graders. So next year we will have a fully built out middle school of 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, and the following year, so in 22-23, we will have our first 9th grade class. We'll continuing adding a class after that until our students graduate. We opened with 165 6th graders in the fall of 2019. We currently have about the same number of 6th and 7th graders, so we have we're filled to the max and able to keep our school small. We have a beautiful new building, as I mentioned, that we're so excited to hopefully get students into and back into school soon, and there's a rendering of that below. We're located at Fitzsimmons and Peoria, and you can see kind of on a map where we are right there. It's a great location, so we're super fortunate to be able to be not only in a new building, but in a new building that overlooks Anschutz. So let's talk a little bit about the experience your student will have at AST. We'll talk about academics, learning, experimental learning and electives, extracurriculars, and then our school culture and community. Here is a picture of one of our whole school morning meetings back when we were allowed to sit that close to other people without masks on. And they're a really great time. Our morning meetings, which we have continued virtually, are a great way for our entire school community or grade level to come together. So in 6th through 12th grade at AST, students have literacy, they have math, they have science, and they have social studies. Those are their core classes. They also have electives. So currently our 2 electives that we offer at AST are a STEM elective and PE. And as we grow one more grade, it is likely we will add another elective to our middle school elective offerings. I think a few other things to note as you think about the trajectory of your student if they were to come to AST is that in 11th grade, part of our programming is to have students off campus 2 days a week to complete an internship for 1 trimester. And so we're certainly hoping that with our proximity to the Anschutz campus that a vast majority of those internships will happen at Anschutz. And then in 12th grade, students complete a capstone project, which is kind of they write a paper and they do some service learning in the community. And it's pretty exciting and great to hear their presentations on that. AP classes begin in the 10th grade currently at AST, and you'll obviously learn more about that as your student gets into high school. So you can kind of see our electives and experimental learning on a chart here. In middle school, we do start with the STEM class, which is a part of our school-based learning, and we really want middle school to just excite kids. We want them to be interested in science, technology, engineering, and math, and to see how that can play out in different ways in their lives. Our STEM classes are very hands-on and interactive and kind of cover a wide variety of topics. For the experimental learning component, we have guest speakers. Currently at AST, we have Science Fridays, where there are speakers from Anschutz and scientists and researchers from around the country who come and talk to our students at the end of the day Friday, and those have been very well attended and very informative. Once we're able to do off-site visits again, we will certainly bring back field trips, especially considering our close proximity to the Anschutz campus, and we offer a lot of clubs. As students then make their way through high school, we still want them to be in that discovery phase in 9th and 10th grade, and then truly engaging in 11th grade in a year-long pathways course in maybe bioscience or computer science, and then moving into 12th grade, kind of doing that capstone project and ensuring that they're finishing their year-long pathways course. We do offer physical education in 6th through 10th grades, and you can see at the bottom of the screen some possible high school science electives. But we know school is about more than what students do in the classroom, and so after school sports, you can see some are listed here. We also, in addition to the list here, have cheerleading. The picture on your screen is of our girls volleyball team last year. They had a great time. And then, of course, as students express interest in other sports, we will certainly entertain hosting those. I know some students have expressed some interest in a cross-country team, and so, if it weren't for COVID, we would be looking into that, but certainly are thinking about that for next year. And then our after-school clubs really vary because our teachers lead those clubs, but currently what we're offering virtually right now is a cooking club. We're offering a women's empowerment club, though that's open to all genders. We are offering an anime club. We do Science Fridays. There's a yearbook club. So we're still trying to make clubs and kind of after-school activities a part of life at AST, even though we are remote currently. And then in terms of our school culture and community, we've already talked a little bit about the small nature of our school, and that is truly intentional. I know every student in our building by name, and I think that's really important, especially when kids are in middle school, right? I don't just know the kids who are in trouble or the kids who are struggling, but I know every student in the building. Our advisory program, as mentioned, has about between 15 and 20 students per adult, and it builds support, individuality, friendships, and culture. Students often will come back to their 6th grade advisor even when they're in high school for advice or just to talk. And so we're really kind of building that lifelong connection there. We do morning meetings, which are our large community gatherings to focus energy on common goals and to have fun. In the virtual space, we bring our entire community together for a live morning meeting on Mondays, and then on Fridays, grade levels have their own morning meetings, and it would mirror or be the same when we return to school when we're allowed to be close again. We talked about after-school activities, just another plug for tutoring. That's a really great way for teachers to get to know students in a smaller setting. And then we have a really safe environment. We have an absolutely zero bullying policy. We believe in restorative justice practices. We have a clear and consistent behavior and discipline system because it's really important that when your students at school, they're able to focus on school and not be distracted by any other kind of issues or nonsense going on. And so we make sure we're really clear with kids that their safety and comfort comes first so that they can learn. And then we also do all kinds of other fun things. We have spirit weeks. You can see in the top two pictures, one picture of 90s Day and another picture of Twin Day between a teacher and a student. The two pictures on your screen on my left-hand side of the screen are our science fair that we held last year. We actually held that on the Anschutz campus, and it was great. We had some postdoc students come and judge it. And then you can see on the right-hand side with the balloons, that was a picture from our our winter dance last year. And then we took kids to Skate City as an incentive field trip one afternoon once school was out, and we had a great time. So a typical day at our school would involve about 30 minutes for advisory, 20 minutes for morning meeting, and then they have a little bit longer chunks of class time for literacy and math. Those are about 80 minutes. Science, social studies, and their electives are 60-minute classes. And then for about 45 minutes after school, we offer clubs, athletics, and tutoring. So on our logistics and operations page, right now, our school day is a little bit different since we're remote. These numbers are actually not correct. We're running from about 8:15 to 2:45 remote in eSchool this year. But our typical school day will be about 8 to 4 is I think where we landed. I apologize that this slide is incorrect. I'll make sure it gets fixed when we attach it to the presentation. So our school day would be 8 to 4. The school calendar will closely match other DSST schools. So this is important to note, as I know many of our families have more than one student in an Aurora public school, and so you need to look at the calendar really carefully when it comes out, because there are some days that Aurora Public Schools is on and we are off, and vice versa. So we do our best to try to match both DSST and APS as closely as we can, but it's not perfect, and so you do need to be aware of that in terms of the school calendar. It's nothing crazy, just some days that we have professional learning days that APS has school, and vice versa. Lunch and breakfast are provided at school. Transportation is unfortunately at this time not provided. Now, we can connect you via a ride-sharing app such as, I can't remember what it's called right now, but there's one that's like carpooling, right? So you can put in your address and say, hey, I'm interested in carpooling. Are there any other families? We know our families pretty well at AST, so if you're looking for just one other family or one time of day that you're struggling with transportation needs, we could probably even help you out from a front office perspective. But we do not provide transportation, and we don't provide before or after care at this time post clubs, right? So if our day next year goes until about 4, we'd have kids in the building until about 4:45, 5, and then we don't have supervision. Same thing in the morning. There's no early morning drop-off supervision at this time. We talked about after-school activities and sports. School uniforms consist of a polo with the owl insignia. You can see a picture of it here, and we'll share a link to ordering uniforms with you all. So it's a polo shirt, and they can choose whatever color they want. We offer 3. And then kind of solid color pants that are not jeans on the bottom, and they can wear any shoes that they want. So really it's a polo shirt and solid color pants that are not jeans. There is not tuition. We are a public school, so there are some student fees, but there's not a tuition. We are not a private school. Let's talk a little bit about the application process and how that works. So applications for our lottery will be open this winter, starting in late January. We'll run an independently run lottery. We'll determine placements at the school. Aurora Public School District residents have priority over folks from outside of Aurora, so Denver, Commerce City, Adams County, but I will tell you that we have had a lot of success with people who have applied and gotten and who are not in the city limits of Aurora. We do have many students at our school who don't reside in Aurora, so don't let that dissuade you. But if you are an APS resident, you do have a priority seat. The lottery is totally independent, so you apply and the names spit out, and that's what it is. I can't help with that, but we do always have a wait list, and both 2 years ago and this year we pulled the majority of families off of the wait list. You're notified of your placement, or if you're on a wait list, by a lot of ways: mail, email, and text sometime in March. And then we'll open a second round of an application window in early March if seats are available, or we'll open that for the wait list. Accepted families will have a mandatory orientation in May. So we really believe that, educating your child involves you and us working together. And so want to make sure from the jump you understand what our expectations are at AST and how we're going to support your student and you through this journey. So that is the conclusion of our presentation today. I want to make sure you have a couple of things. One is the school phone number, so you can call it there. Though many of our teachers are not working from the building, it does have a voicemail, and you can call and leave a message. I would say the fastest way to get a hold of someone at AST is to either email me directly or our amazing front office manager, Karina Rodriguez. Both of our email addresses are here. And can also be found on our website, and that's really going to make sure we get back to you very quickly. We are committed to answering all of your questions and making sure that you feel confident in your decision if your decision is to send your student to AST. You can also follow us on social media, so you can see where that helix emblem is. Those are the DSST handles. And then where the owl is, we have a pretty robust Facebook and Instagram page, and I think you can learn a lot about our school by kind of checking that out and seeing what kinds of things we're posting and how happy our students are to be here. So again, actually, I don't have anything on that slide. I want to thank you for spending time with us today and learning more about AST. I so wish we could do this in person, and I'm super hopeful that to start next year we'll be able to be all together in school. We have an amazing school community. We have dedicated teachers and staff, some of the best I've ever worked with. And I'm just in love with our little school and hope that you are at least in like with it after this presentation. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you need anything, and I look forward to getting to know you and your family over the coming months. Thanks so much.